Royalty Beauty Brands is a female, Black-owned beauty company with all of your cosmetic needs in mind. Right now, we offer hair extensions, eyelash extensions, and our flagship product, Yumbella Lip Glam. Coming soon to add to our product line will be promo merchandise, lip oil, lip scrub, beard oil, body butter, body soap, and makeup, to name a few. Every product is vegan friendly and carefully made with the consumer in mind. Check out our Royalty Beauty Brand social media and go to our website to sign up for our exclusive mailing list for discount codes and to place an order. Don't forget to leave us some feedback. Royalty Beauty Brands. We see the beauty in you.
Baby hustle, but the nothing. Know that the ride or die.
Welcome to the House of the Princess.
I keep waiting by my seat. Know that the ride or die.
I'm 50% righteous, 50% ratchet.
Baby hustle, but the nothing. Waiting by my seat. Know that the ride or die. My name came up a lot of sounds. More when
Thank
I was
y'all
not
for
around.
joining us.
Certain people that I know.
Hey y'all. Welcome to the House of the Princess with your host, none other than me, Princess AV. Usually we do House of the Princess live today, but because my regular guests, they ended up canceling because they were sick. The Downing brothers, they were going to be here, but one of them got sick yesterday. My cuz, get well, cuz. So we have rescheduled the live for them. I know y'all looking like ain't no glamour here today. Oh, my glasses is dirty, honey. They was clean a minute ago. I decided to change up the process, change up the program, and figure out what I was going to do today. And I said, well, I haven't read this book like I was supposed to. We done had the book a whole month, okay? And usually, let me, and I done forgot, okay? Usually, how Miss Drea? Oh, because you're a mod, that's why. Usually this is members only. And I said, well, everybody wants to hear about this good old R. Kelly situation, okay? Sorry about that. I decided to put on members only. So only members are able to comment, but everybody is able to like. So I asked that everybody like the video, subscribe to the channel. It might encourage you to join the channel. Membership start as low as $2 with these last $2. Okay. $2 as low as memberships all the way up to $25 monthly memberships. Okay. Let me see. Maybe the production assists me. I know the light is, it doesn't bother me in my glasses, but I know the glare may bother you. Thank you, Black Diamond. So we have a lot of membership tiers for you, and we have a lot more than this coming and that we have done for memberships. We got Queendom Nights, that's our After Dark. It's going to be once a month. Oh snap. Look, and then I ain't even got all my sound effects ready. We have a new member, okay? And I'm in the midst of putting sound effects. So I'm gonna have to give you the super chat membership sound effect until I get the Royal Citizen sound effect. Thank you for Atmos for coming on over here and becoming a member. And look, why is this acting up? It don't even want to do it. Stuck. It is stuck. I couldn't even see it. It's stuck. I think because I'm also downloading something, it might be interfering. So thank you, Atmos, for becoming a member. Okay. I hope y'all like my little sound effects. I'm working on them for the last month. It doesn't what? So let me see who's in the audience today. This is going to be awesome. Yes. Okay. Hey, Black Diamond, of course, she is the mother of the house. Okay. Happy Martin Luther King, not Porsha Luther King. Okay. Hey, Quasha. And I don't know, this is supposed to be my good internet is acting up. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. I am. That's just the devil is busy. It's okay. It's going to get right. Hey, Sean, or either it's StreamYard. Hey, Jay Rucker. Okay. Hey, Since Said It. Welcome, Candace Lane. Okay, we got some members coming in. I know y'all better quit playing with me. I'm finna cuss. Okay, and while this thing is acting up, go ahead and go get your cool beverages. Okay, and let me know what you're drinking on. Is it a red cup or is it a wine glass? Hey, Curly Creole. Okay. Let's see if it acts right now. Miss Drea in the building. Yes, ma'am. And thank you again so much, Black Diamond. Atmos is in the building. And we also, Atmos bringing these people on in. Thank you. Robert Keller, welcome to House of the Princess. You are now a card-carrying legal citizen. So thank you for coming in. Okay, so we got a wine glass. Thank you so much, Simone. Thank you so much. Awesome. Yeah, y'all look at y'all got your little emojis. Y'all tell me what we're working on. So we're gonna have one similar for the royal citizens. I'm gonna work on that tonight. I told you I was finna do this upgrade in 2022. It's coming, okay? And guess what? Y'all gonna call in. Anybody can call in also in between chapters, but I decided to make this more open to everybody because this is the chapter with the Aura Kelly, okay? And y'all wants to know about the Aura Kellys, and that's what we're gonna do. And this Porsha been clowning for these past couple of weeks, honey child, a mess. Coffee time. That might be something I should add. Coffee, okay? A little coffee. And we got to do the shot glasses. Hey, my BJ. Sean Ray got the wine glass with Moscato blush. Of course, Black Diamond has the Coke Zero on ice. All right. Okay, I got my Tertius and everything. I didn't drink a lot, but I might have to be here and there. I'm trying not to be ignorant, loud. I'm trying to either do it soft or pause the camera for all of the stuff I got to do. But anywho, tell your friends to come on in here. Come on in the room, okay? And make sure they like the video. So for those who don't, I still got to put the video up. We are reading The Pursuit of Porsha. And I don't know what my camera looks like. It's a little too orange, even though I have my light up. This is The Pursuit of Porsha. And I was able to get it autographed. Thank you. The House of the Princess contributed to me going out there and getting the book. Okay. So we have the book. It is autographed copy from Porsha herself. And Porsha touched this book and gave it to me. Okay. So we are reading chapter 4 and chapter 5 tonight. And this is like the longest chapter in the whole dang on book. With this here. This is a very elementary book. So what we're going to read through chapter 4, take a break, take some comments and call-ins, and then go to chapter 5. You the world's greatest entertainer. I've been looking for you for forever. I just thought about you like yesterday. Yes, God. Won't he do it? Hey, honey. Ain't seen you in a minute. Maybe you just been in the bushes, okay? Bear with me. I'm still recovering, but we finna get together. So we're on chapter 4. I met Southern John through my cousin, Tep. We had gone out somewhere, running around Atlanta, doing what you do when you're in your 20s, and we had bumped into him. It didn't take him long to leave with my number. I knew he had dated one of my cousin's friends, but I didn't realize just how deep it was between them at the time. I just thought that we both saw him at the same time, and after a night of flirting, he chose me. But after a month went by, my cousin called me up to clarify a few things. My friend is kind of mad at me because you're talking to him, Tip admitted. What do you mean? We met him at the same time and he chose me. Tell her sorry. I spat back a little sarcastically. No, I guess you didn't realize that they had a relationship before. I didn't really know that they were that close, but she said he can be crazy. What do you mean crazy? I said, wanting her to spell it out for me before abruptly changing my mind. You know what? Whatever. It doesn't matter. He's amazing to me. And he was. Southern John was like the quintessential guy from Ellenwood, a country boy. He was not bad looking, but he had scars from a serious car accident and a slight limp. But I didn't care about any of that because he was a country boy, and I felt in my heart that he would be my country husband, and we would live happily ever after in the country. Southern John owned several franchises, and he had bought a plot of land in South Carolina that all his family lived on. He had built a home for his mother, his aunts, and their kids, and he wanted to build himself his own home on that property so everyone could live in a makeshift village. When you pulled up to the property, his aunties and them were sitting out on the porch watching the grass grow. The kids were playing outside. The dog was running around, barking at the wind. It really looked like a scene out of a picture book. The idea of creating a village really appealed to me, as it was how I wanted to raise my own family, surrounded by my mom and my sister and my brother. So have a man who valued the way I valued family the way I did was amazing to me. In my mind, based on how he treated his family, I thought we were equally yoked, especially when I saw how he treated his grandmother. Since Southern John would visit her all the time, it wasn't long before we were introduced. And she was this really, really sweet lady who didn't move around much, and she didn't need to, especially since the loves of her life would show up to love on her. You could tell how familiar and close they were. You could tell John would make it a point to visit her, and I just thought it was so sweet that a grown man, busy with his own life, would take the time to always visit his grandmother. To me, it spoke to his character. After dating a few city guys who seemed to be more concerned about getting money, it was refreshing to date a country boy. Excuse me. Southern John rolled around in a big white Hummer. Sitting in the passenger seat with him, I felt so protected, and I craved that. I'm not sure if it was because I mourned the loss of my own protector at 16 years old, and I was sort of looking for somebody to guide me, but I felt so comfortable riding shotgun with him. I felt like I could finally breathe. I didn't have to be afraid of anyone or anything. The icing on the cake that his future life plans of truly creating a village mirrored the life that I had envisioned for myself. It was no secret to anyone that I dove headfirst into this relationship. After 5 months of me fantasizing about our forever, I realized just how much he checked off all the hypothetical boxes I held up against him. He loved his family. He had morals. He had a business, and he would lavish me with gifts. Don't that sound like Dennis? Okay. I'm just saying. Okay. And one day he sent me to the mall with his credit card, which he'd often do whenever he wanted to buy me things. So I bought this beautiful bracelet and a ring. I bought me a promise ring today, I told him casually after leaving the mall. What? I bought a promise ring. Remember we were talking about it? I didn't wait for him to answer before I kept explaining what the new ring that shone on my left hand meant. It means that we are in a relationship and the love that we have and the trust that we're building will lead us one day to be together. With this ring, you're promising to marry me one day. Aye, Porsha, he said. I couldn't help but notice a slight annoyance in his voice when he added, but give me back my credit card. You doing too much. Not long after my trip to the mall, Southern John said he wanted to take me to a horse ranch. I had never been to a horse ranch before, so I was excited to go. I was telling my mom and my cousin Tiffany how I looked it up, and we were headed to a romantic bed and breakfast, which sounded so quaint because I had never been to one of those before either. And we're going to take a moment. Thick girl, you renewing your membership? Thank you. And we're going to give all y'all like a hand clap at the end of the chapter, okay? Okay, we drove up in John's truck, and it looked more beautiful than I had imagined. A long, winding road led us to a big, beautiful house that was surrounded by 6 or 7 identical, smaller cottages, all lined up in a row. We stopped at the big house to pick up the keys and meet the owners, a husband and a wife who ran the property, before we unloaded our bags and found our own little cottage filled with charming antique furniture. Later that night, we had a family-style dinner with the couple who told us how they acquired the property and managed the horses who were quietly sleeping in the stable beside us. John was being super sweet that night, telling the owners how he was proud of me. And I just remember it being the most amazing dinner I've ever had in my life, down to the mashed potatoes, which were dripping with butter. Maybe it tasted so good because I was so in love and everything felt so perfect. It was so next level that I couldn't help my mind from drifting higher, thinking that maybe he was planning to propose. My suspicions were heightened the next day when the couple took us out on their horses. It was the perfect Georgia day with hardly any humidity as the sun shone brightly down on us. We rode horseback on a picturesque trail into the woods. Riding slowly, we approached an area to stop and have lunch before riding back to our cottage. Under a flower-filled gazebo, we drank and chilled champagne and had a bite to eat while looking out at rows and rows of beautiful Georgia trees. It was the perfect day to make in a perfect view with my perfect country boy. This was back in the day when we didn't take a picture of every single amazing thing that ever happened to us, which forced me to really take it all in. It meant so much to me, and I couldn't have written a more beautiful day. But I've had to hold on to memories of that day because once night fell, so did my relationship. The sun set and gave rise to something deeply hidden within John, something that to this day I don't understand. In parentheses, for all the women who've had something stolen from them, this is a trigger warning. Instead of having dinner at the big house that night, we decided to drive to a local restaurant close by. It was then that I felt a switch that had flipped in John. Our dinner was nice, but I could tell something was eating away at him. Something was on his mind. Something was bothering him. And just like that, something about my John had changed. Entertainer, no. I had to pull to hold a conversation with him, which was really odd because after a love and attention he had showered on me earlier that day in the woods at dinner where he refused to even give me much conversation, we rushed through the meal and to head back to our little love cottage, or so I thought. We both stepped into his truck and into a different dimension. Oh, no, baby, you make a left turn here, I said once he was going the wrong way. No. he said sharply, harshly keeping his eyes intently on the road. We make a right, stupid. And at the sound of that word, my entire body lit up and shut down at the same exact time. It felt like someone had just lit my body on fire, and I knew nobody would come to put it out. Look, I'm sorry, I said, taking the fault immediately. But what's wrong with you? Why you acting like this? Please. I wasn't sure what had made John call me that, but back whenever a guy got upset, I immediately folded. In my 20s, I never wanted to make a man upset. I immediately apologized. I immediately wanted to avoid an argument, but I didn't push my point at all. My only focus was diffusing the situation. So at the moment, instead of saying, okay, this is ridiculous, John, what the hell is you talking about? I immediately apologized and backed down. Production assistant, can you give me an allergy pill, please? Y'all crazy. For some reason, I felt like it was my fault, and I'd continue to find myself in these situations. Why do I let myself be broken like this? I'd ask myself over and over again. Why do I let myself be taken advantage of? And if I really allow myself to answer, I say to myself that I was simply happen to be in their presence. I was happy to get their love. I was happy to get their attention. I was happy just to be there. The worst part about it is that I never became familiar with accountability. What we say about Porsha? She never takes accountability. She just say that in his book. It was a word and an action that I never knew existed. It didn't exist in my relationships. Instead, when men in my life acted out, I didn't do much about it afterwards. But my soul and my spirit were getting worn out. And when the gas lit up on his dashboard, John pulled into a gas station. But it didn't matter what was going on around us. John was still in a rage. And here I was in the eye of the storm with him, trying to avoid stepping in it at all costs. I'm sick of this shit. You spent all this money on this ring and I ain't even asked you to. You just took my credit card and bought a ring. He spat out, never looking my direction. I had to correct him. John, I didn't take your credit card. You gave it to me. And if it's that big of a deal, I'll take the ring back. It's not that serious. I don't want you arguing with me over no ring. I thought you loved me. I thought you wanted to give me a promise ring. Yeah, but I mean, you can't just take somebody's credit card and buy a promise ring. We talked about it, and the next thing you did was go to the mall and buy one. I ain't even asked you to. It's Valerie. I'm looking. Y'all, is Val in here? Hey, Val, if you in here. Bitch, what? I would know. It was true. I showed up to the mall with his credit card, a diamond in my eye, and a dream in my heart. I'm not sure what made me actually calculate how much 3 months' salary would be for John to figure out the size of the diamond he'd actually eventually buy for me. But I wanted it so badly to be with him, to get my happily ever after, and more important, to make it happen for myself. No, give me the Allegra out the Yeah, just bring me the bottle, either one. Oh yeah, get it out my wallet. Sorry, y'all. What I didn't realize at the time that my dream was coming into fruition in the form of a ring would unintentionally build resentment in John's heart. With him wanting to spoil me, he probably thought he couldn't dare say it, that it was too expensive. John turned everything amazing that we had done together and that he had done for me into a scenario in his mind where I manipulated or forced him to do it. I somehow had morphed into the mastermind who was taking his money and making plans for his life. You stupid bitch, he said, breaking my train of thought and breaking my entire heart. Right there in the passenger seat of his car, a place where I felt so loved and so safe and so protected, I now felt completely torn down, ripped apart, cut open. And evilness had opened up. Why did you give me Benadryl? Allegra. I go to sleep reading doing either that. Thank you anyway, honey. Sorry, y'all. Evilness had opened up inside of him and turned the John that I knew, that I fell in love with, the one who loved family and togetherness and fellowship, into someone who was now raising his voice, being aggressive and cursing me out. His words smacked the taste out of my mouth. John got back into the truck to drive back to our cottage, and I thought the piercing silence that now hung in the air would calm him down. But as we were getting closer, I realized that the opposite was happening. Speeding down the winding dirt roads, John was talking to himself under his breath and hitting the steering wheel. I didn't dare say a word to him. I didn't want to escalate or agitate whatever was going on inside of his mind. In the dead of the night and in the middle of the raft, that big, beautiful house at the end of that long, winding road now looked like a haunted house. This beautiful plot of land surrounded by a quaint antique cottages have now turned into my worst nightmare. There were absolutely no lights on through the property. It was pitch black, and the only light that pierced through was from the beams on John's truck. When we finally drove up to our cottage, he turned completely silent. With his headlights now off and the veil now lifted, I turned to John, who refused to look at me, and all I saw was a completely dark person. In one car ride, he had become my worst nightmare. We got out of the truck, and he was still not speaking to me, not saying a word. And I was not saying much to him either. By the time we walked to the cottage and got into the bedroom, I thought he was calming down, but I didn't help how I felt. Looking around our cottage, which now felt small and claustrophobic, I realized how alone I was. I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I was alone, and I was afraid. I took off my clothes to get ready for bed. As I was taking off my makeup, tying up my hair, and putting on my nightgown, he was still not speaking to me. We lay down in the bed. You know what, John? I want to go home tomorrow. I really don't appreciate how you treated me tonight. I want to go home tomorrow, I said as a matter of factly. You want to go home? You want to fucking go home? He seethed with intense anger, as I was definitely afraid of. Yeah, I want to go home, I repeated plainly. Okay, fine. I grabbed my pillow and inched closer to the edge of the bed, and I wanted to sleep as far away from him as possible, but the edge of our bed didn't feel far enough. Although I was laying down, I couldn't fall asleep. I was too scared to fall into myself and leave this world, even as if it was in my dreams. Those couldn't be sweet enough to lure me into the intoxicating escape. My body was on high alert, and it kept me awake. I knew it kept John awake too, because ordinarily he'd be snoring loudly in the middle of the night, but not that night. I knew he was awake. He was just lying there, and it was scary. I forced my body, still unsettled and afraid, to get up and lie down on the little love seat in the living room. I picked up a blanket and put it over myself, hoping it would protect me. Trying to wheel myself as far away from him as possible, I turned my body into the love seat with my back facing him. About 5 minutes later, into the dead of the night, John said, "So you just gonna sleep over there?" "Yeah, I'm gonna sleep over here. Good night." Time refused to move. The moment refused to budge, and the room was still pitch black, quiet. I heard his body get up from the bed and walk over to me in my self-created refuge. Standing over me, he boomed, "Get back in the bed." Uh-oh, Kimmy said it's a trigger warning. Okay. Yeah, these cussing words, trigger warning. Nah, I'm good. I'm staying over here. "Get back in the bed." "No, I'm sleeping over here. This too much. I am not sleeping with you tonight," I said, pleading with him, begging him to let whatever was bothering him let it go. Get in the bed. Stop it. You scaring me. Oh, you scared of me? You scared of me? Yeah, we out here alone and you screaming at me. You scaring me. John took the blanket that I had draped over me and threw it over my head. What the hell is he doing? Is he going to suffocate me? I felt his hands around my thighs, forcing my nightgown up. Okay, so he going to rape me. I told myself, bracing myself for what was to come. John was moving really fast. No, stop. I pulled the blanket off my head a little bit and saw John's face. It wasn't him. It wasn't the man I had fallen in love with. His face had completely changed. His eyes were typically dark brown, but at this moment they were black. There was no soul in his eyes, nothing. I could not see anything. I didn't see the man that I loved. I knew what was going to happen next. I felt a rush take over my body, and my blanket couldn't stop him. My hands couldn't stop him. My screams couldn't stop him. I screamed and screamed and screamed, and then I just stopped. I gave up. I lay there. I went to a place that felt familiar, unfortunately. That place held my fears. That place held my hurt. That place held my pain. That place was pitch black. How did I get here again? But what did I do to deserve this? Why am I so helpless? He stopped. I got up, walked back to the bed that we shared, and tried to sleep on its edge. Anything to feel far away from him. My body was burning and on fire, but I steadied my breath and tried to remain calm. I dared not to react. I dared not to show any emotion. I didn't want to wake his evil again. The next morning, John really didn't talk much, and I knew I had to get out of there. I lied and told him I had to go to work. We packed up without saying much to each other to prepare for the drive back to Atlanta. He was acting like it didn't happen. He was acting like nothing happened, and I was acting that way too. Then he showed his hand. So you gonna break up with me now? No, I lied. I just need to go to work. Well, how do you feel? Are you sure you're going to break up? You're not going to break up with me? I'm not. I lied again, fearing that if I said what I was really feeling, he banged my face into the window or worse. I'm not going to break up with you. I just need to go to work. This weekend, this drama, it was a lot. As we sped towards Atlanta, my goal was to get out of his truck alive. I would say whatever I needed to say to calm John down. I just needed to get home. There was no Uber back then. I couldn't call anybody. I just wanted to get home. I just wanted to get back to my apartment. Soon, but not soon enough, we pulled up. John asked me again, are you sure you're not going to break up with me? Nah, I'll call you when I leave work. I lied, rushing to open the door into my apartment. As soon as I saw his Hummer pulled off, I texted him, listen, we done. It didn't take long for his truck to pull back up at my doorstep again. That's why she's stupid. But anyway, he was screaming, yelling, and kicking my door. He demanded his gifts back. He demanded the promise ring, and I didn't know who to call. I was too scared to call the police, so I called my friend Kim. Porsha girl, just give him back his stuff. No, I don't want to. I told Kim, trying to hold defiantly to whatever dignity I had left in the relationship. Porsha, now. Boom, 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 boom. It was John banging down my door like the damn police. The apartment shook lightly underneath my feet, or maybe it was my body vibrating from fear and anger. Okay, fine, Kim. I'll leave his stuff on my doorstep. I never want to see his face again. And that's what I did. I put all his gifts in a bag and texted him to pick it up from outside my door. keeping gifts that people give to you and they want their shit back. Don't that sound familiar? Excuse me, got to take my medication. I've been cleaning over here and we rearranged the studio. I'm on a different side of the house. So my nose itching. That's my allergies. And I want to be able to get through this thing. You want to play police, what we call Ripley. I ain't never heard of somebody say, I'm scared to call the police. I guess. Whatever, girl. Whatever. I guess. We should be almost to R. Kelly. We never spoke again, but I wasn't comfortable living in my apartment anymore, even though I loved that apartment. When I received my inheritance money after my grandfather's death, in addition to starting my first daycare, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with that generational blessing. I wanted to move out of my mama's house. So I really wanted to show my mom that I could do it all by myself, that I could be independent just as she had taught me to be. Excuse me. I also wanted to show her that I was being responsible with my inheritance, which definitely meant financially, but it felt like so much more than that. With my grandfather finally being laid to rest, it did really feel like it was up to me and the rest of the family to keep his legacy alive, and I had a lot to live up to. I just didn't realize how hard that would be, especially when I was surrounded by men who only saw me as a means to an end, men who only wanted to use me. Sometimes it was financially, other times it was sexually. I wouldn't learn until later just how much my hurt cloaked my entire being, attracting broken men like flies to a cold piece of watermelon, left out on a hot summer's day. Oh, okay. I didn't realize at the time that I couldn't even see the signs. I couldn't tell that they would sniff my low self-esteem from a mile away. But there they were, men who saw my novelty, my good credit, my propensity to never want to fight for too long, feeding their egos and their fucked up desires for my life. Excuse my profanity, but we got to call a thing, as Inyama would say. Right before the housing bubble burst, banks were giving out loans to anybody with good credit and a pulse. Thanks to one of those men who targeted me, I took advantage of that. This guy whom I met right before I started dating Clinton had convinced me that he wanted to date me and wanted to help me launch my first business. But let's be real, I didn't need his help. I was the one who had the money. Still, I ended up trusting him. So when he told me one afternoon, your credit is good, let's start investing in properties, I didn't think anything of it. Wow, really? I said, thrilled with this man saw more for me than what I saw for myself. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I figured that it'd be in a family business of service, whether it was serving the community or serving underserved families. I didn't think I could be a real estate investor. I ended up being approved for a $2 million loan, which was surprising to say at the very least. But in a strange way, I felt proud that I had gotten approved for so much, not realizing how much they were inflating the loan. I felt investing was a business that I could get into and make my mom proud, which is all I ever wanted to do. I had grown up in my mom's daycare center, and I worked in it since I was 17 years old. But it was nice to have this other business altogether that I had started on my own, and I could do and show her that I was responsible. Not only was I getting into a new industry, but I was doing it big dog style. Our plan was to purchase 2 penthouse condominiums, both listed at $500,000 in Buckhead, which is an upscale area of Atlanta that reminds you of Fifth Avenue in New York or Beverly Hills in Los Angeles. I thought, this is going to show my mom that I am really doing it. I'm responsible. I've used my grandfather's money properly, and I'm setting up future generations so that I can pass down something to them too. When I went to sign the paperwork to purchase the 2 condos, I heard a familiar voice that right when I was about to sign the last document. And by the grace of God, I paid attention to this voice, this energy, this ancestor, my gut, my God telling me, do not buy those condos, girl. Something in my spirit told me, Porsha, do not sign that paperwork. Don't. Do not do it. Let that apartment go. Just buy one apartment. Please, Porsha, just buy one. So I did just that. I bought a penthouse in Buckhead and rationalized to myself that I couldn't find renters to pay the mortgage. I could always live in it. Later, I felt conned by this man who pretended to be interested in me, so I would open up my wallet to him. I look back on that moment, and that one saved my financial life from legitimate ruin. This guy ended up being a middleman and paid himself the closing costs on my penthouse condo. He had a big talk and we'd run this real estate investing company together. But in reality, I would have been stuck with 2 mortgages and he'd be nowhere to be found. I wish I could say that this was the only time I'd been taken advantage of by men, financially, physically, emotionally, but it wasn't. Throughout my 20s, I was forced to continue to protect myself by listening to the guiding voice of God. Hold on, y'all. This is what y'all came here for. When I touched down in Chicago, I spotted a man holding a sign with my name on it. He was my driver, a light-skinned older man who drove me through the frozen streets of Chicago. Although the sun was already starting to set, the headlights from his car lit the street up as we drove farther and farther away from the city's center. They also revealed the little snow flurries that eventually a gate that opened as soon as we pulled into what looked like a mansion. There's a lot of girls that come. Oh, there's a lot of girls that come here, my driver said as we neared the house. I didn't know if he was trying to make conversation or warn me or something, but I soon found out. I thought I was going to a recording studio, but instead we pulled to the side of this huge house. When the car finally stopped into the circular driveway, I opened the door and the driver helped me grab my black Calvin Klein luggage from the trunk. As I walked into the side of the home, the big guy escorted me from the car into what looked into a basement of a home. It almost looked like the security checkpoint because it was bland, all white room where 2 guys sat at the table staring at security cameras. Hey, Porsha, come on, a familiar voice said. It was Lenny. The dude had invited me out here to meet R. Kelly. Excuse me, y'all. I had randomly met Lenny in the middle of a lounge inside of the Bellagio in Las Vegas. I was with some friends chilling and drinking, minding our business when he slithered over to us, trying to make introductions. What do? You look like you on TV, he said, clearly to gas me up. No, I'm not. Well, are you an artist? He pressed. I can sing. And at the time, I honestly didn't know if I could sing or not. But my mama said I could sing, so I thought I could sing. She's always encouraging me to use my gifts. So when Lenny asked me if I was an artist, posturing like he could help me make it in the industry, I jumped at the opportunity. Excuse me. I was a singer that day. Well, I know R. Kelly, and I could introduce you. Really? I said excitedly. Yeah, he's looking for new artists. He's got a couple projects that are coming out real soon. You know what? Sing for me right now. Let's see what you got. Right now? At this table? Yeah, let me hear you sing, Lenny said, crossing his arms and showed that he was serious. And in that moment, I heard in my mama's voice, if someone asks you to sing, baby, just do it. You sing. You got to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. So I did it. I mean, it was an opportunity to work with R. Kelly. So it would be great for me. This could be my big break. So I put those butterflies in my stomach inside their cage and stood flat-footed and sang, his eye is on the sparrow. Oh, you've got a great voice. All right, all right. Everything after that happened so fast. Days after flying back home to Atlanta, I got a call from someone in R. Kelly's camp to get my information to book a flight out to Chicago to meet the man I'd later to come to know as Robert. When I arrived in Chicago, I thought I'd be staying in a hotel and meeting him at a recording studio, but he had other plans in his mind. I was so naive that I didn't realize I was going to a studio in his house. I was relieved to see Lenny when I arrived, but he'd be the only familiar face I'd see all day. After leaving my luggage at security, I followed Lenny inside. Robert's house had a cabin feel to it. Although the walls were an eggshell color, they were trimmed in cherry wood. He walked down a long hallway where two studios sat across from each other. You can sit down right here, Lenny instructed casually. It was my first time walking into a studio, but I was acting as if I had done this 1,000 times. When we finally got a moment to ourselves, I had to ask Lenny what was up. You didn't tell me we were going to his house studio. Not that that wasn't a state-of-the-art recording studio, but still, that was a really big detail to leave out. Yeah, I meant to tell you, he stammered. He got a studio here in his house, so this is where we'll be recording. You're going to meet Robert in a minute. He's just in the studio across the hall working with someone else. Are you nervous? No, I lied. I'm ready. I was nervous, but like so many different opportunities in my life, if I believed that it could happen, it would happen. And if this opportunity was meant to happen, then I'd be ready for it and it would work out for my good. I never asked, why me? I always asked, why not me? All right, cool. I'm just going to have him play a couple of things and you see, what you vibe to. Lenny left me in the studio to gather my thoughts. Little did I know it would be the last time I saw him. Ever. I sat in the darkened studio alone thinking, oh my God, I'm in R. Kelly's house. And at the time, he was a huge star and he had just released Trapped in the Closet. And it was only a few years after he had released Happy People, Ignition, You Saved Me, and every Black person's cookout anthem back in the day, Step in the Name of Love. And here I was being personally invited to go meet him. I felt special. I felt like this was my big break. If I could just pull this off, I'd be one step away from making it. And after a while, I realized that I had been waiting for so long that I began to think, who knows that I'm here? I really hadn't told anybody that I had left Atlanta and flown all the way to Chicago. My gut was telling me to check in, so I pulled out my phone so I could text my girl and let her know I was there just in case. A light knock on the door broke my train of thought, and a guy that I had never seen before poked his head into the dimly lit studio. You can come in here, he said dryly, opening the door for me and leading me to a much smaller yet brighter studio across the hall. Robert, wearing dark sunglasses and a hat turned backwards, sat in the corner of the studio, along with a guy who had just led me into the studio to meet him, and an engineer sat behind the board in the control room. Hi, I'm Porsha. And I said, brightly, walking up to shake his hand. Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I heard all about you, he said a little too fast. You came with Lenny, right? Yeah, I know him for years. He told me about you. You see, he said you got a nice voice. Well, I'm working on this music right now. Matter of fact, sit down right here. Sit down right here. I want you to hear something. Robert pointed to a chair right beside him, but the other guy that was sitting in it, he didn't budge. Instead, the dude looked at Robert from the side, burying whatever slick thought he had in his mind. Hey, watch out, man. Let us sit down there, Robert said with a little bit more bass in his voice. The guy stood up slowly and found another place to land while I sat down in the seat that he had warmed up. When he nodded to the engineer, a song started playing through the studio speakers. It sounded magical, almost like a pitch-perfect notes were bouncing off the walls. When Robert started singing to the track, it made the song come alive right before my eyes. Wow, I'm really sitting in the presence of magic and true talent, I thought to myself, slowly bobbing my head along with the beat, trying to fix my face as I was judging the song with a singer's ear. But in reality, it felt like I was mixing an intoxicating potion. The music was infectious. It filled up the entire studio. It rubbed the nervousness off of me. It seemed like it had broken the ice between us. This is a song I just wrote off the top of my head, he said. I'm not one of those people who read and write stuff like that. Yeah, we just produced it a couple of minutes ago. His engineer turned around and said, wow, that's a really good song, I said. And it was. Within 15 minutes, Robert started treating me as if he had known me for years. It was actually kind of disarming to have him suddenly act like we were friends, and I was his homie who stopped by to kick it in the studio while he was creating. Although I didn't feel forced on his end, I was pushing to catch up to the moment. I was there to prove that I was ready to take my dreams to the next level, but he never asked me to sing for him. After he played his track, he didn't even talk about music again. I wanted to press him to fight for the opportunity, but I was scared to. But what if I did speak up for myself just to be humiliated? Oh, shoot, we still got 10 pages. Okay. Or worse, what if I was kicked out of his house with no place to go and no way to get home to Atlanta? I tried to rationalize the moment. Even if I didn't do a song with him, at least I was present for this song. Even if I never got around to working on music, even if we never got around to working on music for me, at least I was here for this. And what a privilege. And as I was in the studio kicking it and chilling, it dawned at me that I hadn't seen Lenny in hours and I had no idea where I was staying. I had 2 roller-ray pieces of luggage and I had left the security checkpoint and I had no clue to ask about which hotel I was staying at. I was nervous to ask because I didn't want to seem like I was uncomfortable. I wasn't. We were all watching a small television mounted in the studio while making small talk. Robert had even complained about an interview I had just done with the reporter had irritated him over some personal question, and we all laughed about it. He was hitting on me. Not yet, at least. He wasn't hitting on me. Not yet, at least. He was relaxed, cool, chill. He treated me like a friend. After a couple of hours, Robert stood up and said, I'll be back. And he left. His friend, the one who had led me in the studio hours ago, followed him. And I was left in the studio with the engineer whose back was towards me. I sat there for about 45 minutes, keeping my eyes glued to the television, confused. Eventually, another random guy whom I'd never seen before came into the studio and said, oh, Porsha, you can come with me. I can show you where you can put your stuff. Okay, cool. I said, standing up and relieved that I didn't have to sit in that studio no more. As I looked around in the cabin-like mansion, wide-eyed trying to take everything in, I walked through the home and up a flight of stairs, and I was rationalizing to myself, he must be putting me up for a night in a guest room. Maybe I'm going to stay here and we'll work in the studio tomorrow. I was desperately trying to figure out what in the world was going on while not trying to rock the boat. It was a skill I learned early in my life, wanted to be liked, wanted people to like me, wanted to please, wanted to get along, go along to get along. It rarely served me, but in my mind, it was better than living in conflict. You can just stay here in the house or whatever, the guy said casually. Robert will see you later. With the house this size, I figured he probably had 2 or 3 guest bedrooms, so I didn't mind staying there before my flight the next day. But when this guy opened the double doors, I got the sense that he had just walked me into the master bedroom, Robert's bedroom. Y'all sending me stuff. Child, we already know this. Okay. As I tiptoed into his huge bedrooms, my thoughts rushed into my brain, bumping into one another. They were trying to make sense of everything I had ever said to Lenny, to Robert, to everyone. Could anyone have gotten the impression that I had come here for anything other than music? No, no. I was naive, sure, but professional nonetheless. I didn't even know how I ended up here or how I was going to get out. I looked around and it was so obviously his bedroom with the poster bed and sat in the middle of the room. Around it sat an entire living room set up, complete with a couch. The room was so huge it fit a table and a set of chairs. What was I supposed to do in here? I wasn't sure what I would do to pass the time. But as the minutes turned into hours, and after what was on television could no longer distract me from this surreal experience, I looked out the bay window. I couldn't tell what time of day it was, but my body let me know it was somewhere between the thick of night and the dawn of morning. I peeked my head out the bedroom door and looked down the hallway, and I noticed a photo of his ex-wife hung in the hallway, and I thought to myself, is he still married? I'm so sorry, baby, Robert said, walking in the door and talking to me as if we were in a relationship, a stark difference from how you treated me earlier in the studio. I wanted us to work later, but I got caught up. When I heard his voice, I reluctantly opened my eyes, realizing that I had drifted to sleep. I looked in the room trying to process exactly where I was, and I couldn't believe that I was actually in R. Kelly's bedroom. How had I let it get this far? I had no idea what was in store, but I played along. Oh, that's okay. It's all right, I said. Robert immediately started kissing me. I'm really into you. I think you beautiful, he said. I'm just looking for somebody that I can spend my time with. I need a girlfriend, a girl who's mature and patient, keeps a low profile. I need her. Can you be that girl? I'm super low key, I replied. I felt myself getting caught up in the fantasy as if I was dreaming. But what about your wife? I'm single, he emphasized, and I'm lonely all the time. Robin said he spent so much time by himself that he worked so much on his craft that when he was working, it was not only hard for him to meet people, but it was hard for him to be around people. He acted like his gift was so heavy on him that whenever it called for him to be in a studio, that's what he had to do. That need, that pull, it kept him from a lot of relationships in his life. Robin said he had just needed somebody who would be understanding of what he would have in a relationship and when he could not. Hearing Robin pour his heart out made me want to be that for him. It was the way he opened up, needing me, wanting me. That made me want to be there for him. I wanted to be that girl that he was looking for to live that fairy tale. So my rational mind kept pulling on me too. It begged me to question what was going on, and it continued to pull me back and forth throughout the next few months. Well, I'm giving you the voices. I'm trying to, because you be reading a book, you got to break the monotony. Y'all not seeing the words. I'm trying to give you the fantasy, okay? So y'all not together? I pressed. No, we not together. Oh, okay. Because I saw her picture in the hallway. We not together. We haven't been together for a long time. It's just me. It's just me and my kids. I just like your spirit. It's something about you, he said, probably changing the subject. I want you to take your clothes off. My rational mind woke up back up at that line. I could have laughed in his face, grabbed my luggage, and walked right out of there. I like to think I would have if I wasn't in the middle of nowhere with nowhere to go. Or I could do what I had done in so many situations and put out what I felt, nervousness mixed with panic, and to the side in order to survive what was about to happen. Plus, I'm already here, I told myself. I'm in his bedroom. I've already been in his house for hours. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. I've already put myself in this position. This is what you're supposed to do. You have to. You have to. There's no turning back. What are you going to do? Say no and then what? Then you're stranded with nowhere to go. So I took my clothes off while he stood there looking at me. At that time, my body wasn't the body I have now. I was skinny, no more than 145 pounds. My body looked very young. I had no breast, no hips, but he didn't seem to mind. In fact, it seemed to turn him on. Oh, this next line. How old are you? He asked. 20. I replied before he cut me off and finished saying my age, which was 25. Stop, he said. Let's just say you're very young. Bastard. A few minutes later, I ran into the bathroom to wash him off of me. I felt so disconnected from the man who had just told me how badly he needed me. I turned the sink on so he couldn't hear what I was doing. When I walked back out, his shirt was back on. You good? Robert said, looking over at me. I gotta go. I'm supposed to be meeting this producer. It was around 5 or 6 in the morning, but I just let him tell me any excuse to leave. And he left. What I didn't realize is he walked through his double doors, and what was that he'd leave me in his bedroom for the entire next day. The door wasn't locked, yet I didn't feel welcome to roam around his house alone. He never told me I couldn't leave, but he never also encouraged me to make yourself at home. He never told me not to open the door, but he also never invited me down the stairs to get something to eat. By simply leaving me there, he disarmed me, and I was frozen. I eventually got up the courage to call downstairs because I was starving. I needed something to eat. Thoughts of working on music sat in my mind, but that's where they'd lie dormant. By the time Robert walked back into his bedroom with me still lying in bed watching television, so many hours later, I was just happy to see someone. I was actually happy to see him. I couldn't believe you left me like that, I told him. You did it a second time. I don't like to be left alone. I want to go home. No, baby. No, baby, don't be like that, he said, looking genuinely hurt by the mention of me leaving. Let me give you some money. You could go to the mall, get out the house. I had a business and my own money. I had friends, a loving family, and a mother who had taught me better than this back home, who would worry about my whereabouts. I thought about, I'm sorry if I look like a crackhead. My allergy, my nose is itching the hell out of me. I thought about my mom a lot when I was at Robert's house, and the idea of disappointing her and letting her down kept pulling me back to my senses and calling me home. I flew back to Atlanta that evening. I never said goodbye to Robert during my first trip to his house, but I ended up back there 2 or more so times. I was lured because I was young and insecure. I was lured because of his kind words and loving actions. I was lured because the combination of the two things manipulated me to my core. Each time I went, it got worse and worse and worse. Robert invited me to fly out to Chicago through an email, and I know that he didn't write it. When one of his drivers pulled me into his Olympia Fields estate for the second time, security led me straight to the small guest room. I walked into the yellowish painted room, which was nestled inside a billiard room where the pool table sat, and again, Robert was nowhere to be found. Instead, I was left to stay in that room until he visited me. And again, the door wasn't locked. No one told me that I couldn't leave, but I still felt like I wasn't allowed to walk around the house. I felt like I was on lockdown. I wish I could say this was a new feeling, being trapped in a room, but it wasn't. The walls eventually started to close in for me after a day, and I sneaked out of the room to get some fresh air. On my way back to the pool area where I passed a security guard who invited me to swim if I wanted to, I bumped into a really pretty light-skinned girl in the hallway. She wasn't wearing any makeup, and her hair was slicked back into a ponytail. She made eye contact with me. "Hey," she whispered. Matching her tone, I replied back, whispering, "Hey, I'm Porsha. I'm over here in this room." "I'm down the hall." "Well, how many girls here?" "I don't even know." Suddenly, one of the big security guards made his way into the hallway. "Oh, yeah, you could go into your room right here, right there," he said, motioning to her. Immediately, without another word and without making eye contact with me, she disappeared. "You shouldn't talk to her," he warned me. Robert eventually came to visit me in my room a day later with apologies dripping from his lips. "I'm sorry, I was working. You know how it be. Listen, come out with me. Come out the room. Let's go get something to eat. My family is having a cookout." He led me down the stairs to the family room where his entire family was relaxing, running back and forth from the kitchen, eating and chilling. Robert's aunt, whom I had never met but who somehow knew my name, was there too. "Hey, Porsha," she said as if she knew me. "Go ahead and fix yourself a plate, girl." By the time it was my second day in the room with nothing to eat, I was so hungry. So I ran into the kitchen and piled food on my plate. And when I got to the potato salad, I paused. It was the most yellow potato salad I had ever seen. "Wow, this is how they make potato salad in Chicago with all this mustard." I thought. I was hungry, but I wasn't that hungry. You can't eat everybody's potato salad anyway. Before I sat down with the rest of the family, I heard a voice say, "Oh, you're such a pretty girl. Robert did good with you." Robert, yeah, man, you did good with her." It was his sister. "Oh, yeah, I love her," he replied to her. Eventually, he turned to me and said, "Porsha, I love you, man. You know I'm going to have a baby by you, right? Did you know that?" His family either ignored us or either they looked in admiration. Robert laid his head in my lap, and I immediately forgot all the anger I felt after being locked up in a room all day. Being around Robert, being wrapped up in his fantasies, made you want to believe his fantasies too, even if you knew better. The moment overrode any logic I understood about what was happening inside that house. I wanted to believe that I wasn't the girl he was locking in his room or to use whenever he wanted or remembered. This was public confirmation in front of his whole family that he loved me, or at least I thought he did. I chose the fantasy of security and love and family over what was actually happening to me, because the one thing I always wanted to be was loved, and that's what he was giving me. Even with my own business, a supportive family and friends, I only saw myself through his eyes, and I didn't see much. I didn't stay for long during that second trip, but Robert would call often. When he did call, I felt like we were in some kind of relationship, even if our interactions and conversations were sporadic and a bit random. I settled back in Atlanta. Excuse me. When I received a phone call from Robert inviting me back into Chicago. He came with more and more apologies. His signature refrain telling me, "I'm sorry I left you in a room like that. I'll never do it again. I love you. We're supposed to be starting a family." Although my gut was telling me to leave this man alone, I unfortunately ignored him one last time. I had touched down in Chicago and once again slipped into the back seat of a private car, and once again I was greeted by security at the side door. This time, I was led into a completely different room in a different part of the estate. I found myself in a fully mirrored room. Aside from the hardwood floors, the room was entirely covered with reflective mirrors. It had mirrors on every wall, mirrors on the ceiling. And the only part of the wall that wasn't reflective was where the television was mounted. I thought to myself, this is going to be rough. I was left in that room staring at different versions of myself for 3 days straight. Or it might have been 2 days straight. When you're left in a room like that for long, you lose track of time. Thankfully, I had brought my laptop with me. If I was going to be on lockdown, I needed something to distract me. So I made sure to tell a girlfriend I was at his house just in case. I never understand how I let him lure me back into his house time and time again, only to be locked away. I'll never understand why I was afraid to leave. And each time I wanted to be like, you know what? I'm getting out of here. Robert, or the security guard will pop up, luring me back to convince me to stay. After 24 hours of staring at myself in those mirrors, I called downstairs to security desk to say I wanted to leave, and I was done. Well, Porsha, Robert says he wants you to be ready in an hour. He wants you to go to a party with him. He does. Yes, he does. Can you be ready in an hour? Wear minimal makeup. If I could turn back the clock, I wish I had the strength to have said no. But instead, I got dressed and followed a security guard down to a large room inside his estate that we held at a pool table in the middle of the floor. When I walked inside the room, there was about 20 or 30 other girls there, all different types. A speaker that I couldn't see played one of his songs. Robert's songs were the only ones that we'd hear that night. What kind of party is this? And where did these girls even come from? I wondered. I walked up to a few girls to make conversation and to have something to do to pass the time. I mean, I hadn't seen or spoken to anyone since I arrived. I also wanted to figure out if these girls were staying in his house too, or if I was the only one. I've been here a month, one said. I've been here a week, another one whispered. I'm staying in the studio, yet another girl shared. I'm actually still in school. About an hour into the party, Robert strolled in like he was the star of the night. And all of the girls started clapping and yelling and saying stuff like, oh, R. Kelly, there he is! Oh, yeah! Hey, ladies. Thank you for being here tonight, Robert said after walking into the central room near the pool table. I just want us to all have a way to get together and have a good time. With that, he started to mingle with each girl. With some girls in baggy clothes, didn't speak to anyone. Others were trying desperately to get into the party spirit. Everyone, though, was vying to get a little attention from Robert. Eventually, he came over to say hello to me. Hey, Porsha, baby. He said, give me a kiss on the lips. And I didn't see him kiss anybody else on the lips, so perhaps I was his girlfriend after all. His girlfriend in a pretty messed up relationship. The party ended after Robert left the room and two cute girls who had kept to themselves for most of the night. Of course, I was upset about it, but I did what I expect after being in a room full of girls throwing. But I did what I did. But what did I expect after being in a room full of girls throwing themselves at him? I dragged myself back to that spooky mirrored room, feeling worthless. I was beyond upset. I was sad. I was depressed. And the worst part about it is I wasn't even that upset with him. I felt more disappointed in myself that I had found myself in this place at this party with these girls. When I wasn't distracted by him, I was being tortured by questions that clouded my mind. What is my life? Why am I okay with this? Why am I okay with him treating me like this? How did I get into this situation? And what would have led me to this place? And if I'm so afraid to be here, why do I continue to stay here? What's keeping me here? It was as if I had suddenly snapped awake. I had to get out of there. I picked up the phone to the room, dialed 0, and I was patched into the security desk. I gotta go. But he's gonna come there soon, they said, trying to dissuade me. He's coming. Is he going to come soon? I pressed. He's coming. But he never did. Hours and hours and more hours rolled by, and with every second and every minute, the nerve that I had just mustered up had become even more lackluster. I was back in this hole again with nowhere to go and no one to tell me that this was not okay. My boredom lured me into a nap, but it didn't last long. I was woken by a guttural scream, a sound of true terror. From the inside of my mirrored hell, the sounds were muffled, but they were distinct enough that I could tell a girl was crying out. A man was screaming too, and it sounded like Robert, but I couldn't be sure. I heard a man's voice say loud and clear, "What the fuck? You got me fucked up!" I soon heard loud footsteps shuffling around as if they were running, followed by a loud thump. Something or someone had fallen. Then it sounded like the woman was getting beaten, and every time a fist landed, she let out a pathetic yet energetic cry, and it was terrifying. I picked up the phone immediately and dialed security. My nerve had returned. I didn't care. I didn't dare let them talk me out of leaving this time. "If you don't change my flight right now and get me out of here, I'm calling the police. Now." I slammed the receiver and called the one girlfriend who knew I was there. Still fearful about what was going to happen in that house, I whispered into the phone and tell her what was going on. "Don't worry, Porsha. We getting you out of there. I can check on flights too." Thank God she did, pointing out a few flights that would get me back to Atlanta by nightfall. But by the time I had gotten off the phone with her, security was already calling me back, telling me, "Your car is downstairs and you could go to the airport." Over the next 2 weeks, Robert called a few times. Most times I let the calls go to voicemail until I couldn't take it no more. "Please don't call me no more. I'm done with you." Fast forward to years later, I sat down with investigators to tell them my story. I never in a million years thought that there would be an opportunity for me to tell my truth to officials. I had kept this experience so close to the chest to protect myself that even my own mother didn't know the depths of what happened at R. Kelly's house. I had just worked up the nerve to tell her about some of it only a few years ago. I spoke up. I felt like I had to, especially when I heard about R. Kelly's victims. I was touched by their heartbreaking stories, and if I could do anything to help them or their families, I wanted to. If I could help someone who was still trying to come forward by sitting down with them, I wanted to be able to do that too. Together, our team helped with the investigation, which I was more than happy to do. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I thought, wow, I've never said that aloud. The past had just walked back into my life, bringing all those moments back into my mind and all those emotions back into my heart. It took me right back to being in that mirrored room and wondering what was going on with me that I allowed myself to be in that situation. At 40, I wish I could turn back the clock and talk my younger self into seeing the value of who I was. I share this story now for every person reading this book so that you can find your power and the purpose to walk away. Child, that is chapter 4. We are going to read chapter 5, which is shorter, okay? It's about 20 pages, which is good. But chapter 4 is the longest chapter in that book, in this book. I need to get some lotion or something, some anti-itch cream off my nose. But y'all, let me see what y'all think in the chat. How? This book is shit. I'm so glad. Thank you. So you're in the room under it, sticking around, right? So look, I'm going to take a commercial break. If you want to call in, let me give y'all the link, okay? If you want to call in the interims, give my voice about 2-second break. before we go to the next chapter. It took me almost an hour and a half to read that. Jesus Christ. I'm going to pin the link in the chat. Oh, look, my friend, he got a lots of people in his chat. Yes. So make sure you press this like button. Oh, you got blocked on Twitter? Petty. I recently got blocked. Little old me on Twitter. I said what I said. She want to block folks. She called. Yeah, I mean she's doing too much. I'm saying. I'm just trying to see how you was able to find that many girls with the same amount. Oh, it's a lot of something. It's a lot of stuff. Yes, princess, give yourself a break. You don't need to kill your brain cells. Draw is paid. Look, okay. If you want to call in, if you got some comments or concerns, in between time, go ahead and hit the link. Also, get you another snack. Press the like and subscribe button. While I'll go try to run, hopefully in this short time, and get this stuff on my nose to stop itching or help it stop itching. Y'all make sure y'all press the like and subscribe button, okay? Thank y'all, all 84 people that's in here. It grew while I was reading. So thank you for y'all that's coming in here. And we're going to read one more chapter before we go. Call in and let me know what you're thinking. Here we go. My little breaks, okay? Look, we're gonna have a couple of them. Okay, so in the meantime, in this red, look, I don't know why it looks so yellow. I need to turn my camera off and turn it back on or something like that. I don't know why it looks so yellow. It's the room too. We'll fix it. New studio area for now. We like it. I told you the upgrades are coming. Okay. In the meantime, we got Thick Girl back here. She got a couple words to say before we go to the next chapter. You boss. I think it's some type of bestseller though. She was giving that red pill. Thank you. That was the new graphics. This is what I'm talking about, 2022. Yes. Hey, queen. Okay, Thick Girl. Oh, let me bring you on up. Now this year, I'm going to have to get this fiber internet with somebody else because this thing is acting food. But here we go. Hey, Thick Girl.
Hey, Porsha stupid. I wouldn't even have wrote this book. I wouldn't have wrote this book. Girl, you sound crazy as a boom bat. Every man you ever meet treat you like trash. And you stay. And then all of a sudden God hits you and you be like, okay, it was time to leave. Girl, bye. You know R. Kelly was in a relationship? Y'all was gonna have a baby together.
After 3 weeks.
But you in the room. Half of those, most of the 3 weeks, you're in a room by your damn self. Every time you go there, you're in a room by yourself for hours. How much y'all gonna have a baby? You only had sex one time.
That's all it takes.
You see other women in his house. and you still willing to stay. He leave with 2 women, you still willing to stay. You told us you had a phone the first night. You ain't have to get that man no sack. You could have left. You could have called your friend the same way you did the last night and said, "Girl, this man thinks about the crack."
I'm not going to give. I'm going to give her that because being out here, like, first of all, I know where the house is. She wouldn't have got out that damn easy. I'll say that. And where the house is adjacent to any airport. It's at least an hour and a half away. Like, she wasn't finna just be like, yeah, take me out of here. Because she would have to have somebody to come get her. And how you gonna call the police when you don't know where you at?
Dude, that's why you pay attention to the streets. That's why you don't go nowhere until you know where the hell you going. The hell?
But they tricked her. And they tricked her just like they tricked many other women.
It's easy to trick Porsha crazy ass.
Do you think you going on Chicago Avenue and you way out in the south suburbs of Chicago and nowhere near no airport or nothing centralized, no hotels, nothing out there?
But if she had a bigger brain, when he asked you to sing in the damn, you know you ain't sound good enough to be going to nobody's damn studio with R. Kelly. Really? Girl, I'm like, no. I'm going R. Kelly want to hit me.
There's plenty of non and what's that other part? Ashanti, non-singing ass folk. Shit, Aaliyah can't sing all that great. But R. Kelly make a star out of you.
They sung better than Porsha sung His Eyes on the Sparrow. I can guarantee you that. And her mama sound like a pimp telling her something, yeah, give him what you want to get. Girl, what the hell? And just give it. No.
Her mother's encouraging.
That wasn't encouraging. Hell, she sound like a pimp and she sound like the hoe. The hell? Sell it. No, Porsha, you crazy.
We also know, I like Miss Mama Diane. I'm trying not to drag her, but we also know what that side of the family do. Okay.
I'm about to say, after watching this show, you can't do nothing but drag, because now you see more insight into why Porsha is Porsha. And it has a lot to do with her family.
That side of the family is ghetto and whorish.
Yeah, it's like the business was in your name because, girl, I think Mama Diane ain't paid some bills or something because she couldn't get no credit. She started you all rowdy.
Say that again.
You put a cable bill, a phone bill, damn, you put a whole business loan in your daughter's name.
We saw that. We read that.
She said about, well, I don't know if you read that part yet, but yeah, the business loan was in her goddamn name. And it was, she said it was her mama business. When we first started the book, it was her mama business. And now it's her business. No, it's not your business. Your name just on the damn loan.
I didn't even remember that part.
Yeah, when we first started, remember Mama Diane had the daycare. And she was working for Mama Diane.
I thought she still had the daycare. And Porsha opened another one.
Daycare. No,
I thought she opened a different one. That's from my understanding.
It's the same daycare. It's the same daycare.
Yeah, even Shay been here. It's not nowhere near. And it's dark out there. It's nothing but woods and shit. She wouldn't have got away from that.
See, that's why I'm not going to somebody's house. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to see. That's no, we're not doing that. I'm not a whole nother state, and you don't tell nobody where you going. Oh hell no.
And she was young and dumb.
That's asking for you to be crazy.
She was young and dumb.
She was 20. We got some sense at 20 now. She was 20. She wasn't no damn 15, 16. She was 20 years old. We got some half of brains when you're 20 years old. Not to leave the whole state and not let your friends or nobody know. Me and my friends ain't even getting a car. Girl, you better come get this license plate. You need to know what he got on. Come on.
Big girl, this is what she was thinking.
You about to tell me what she was thinking?
Quasia saying it. I'm a starrer.
Yeah, she a star, dumbass starrer. I could be a starrer and my friends still gonna know where the hell my ass at. I went to studios. I could sing. But people still knew where the hell I was going, and I'd be damned if I'm going to another state. She seen R. Kelly in the news. He done pissed on people by this time.
A lot of people threw that off. Again, he was acquitted. So they took it lightly. He still was a star.
And it still is a video out with him pissing on people. So you gonna go somewhere with people that piss on people and don't nobody know where you at? I can see, okay, you went, but don't nobody know where you at?
But he wasn't gonna piss
that
on
don't
her.
make sense.
He wasn't gonna piss on her.
He took her cootie.
I'm telling you how she was thinking. I'm telling you how she was thinking. He's not gonna piss on me.
If he take your cootie, he'll piss on you. God damn it. And she's still acting the same way at 40. So it's just Porsha that thinks like this. It ain't got nothing to do with being young. That's just Porsha mind.
That's true. I mean, I read a lot of similarities of shit she's still doing. Things that we saw in Porsha's Family Values that she's still doing 20 years later. Being taken up for gifts.
People tell her who she is, but she never believe them. Like, girl, when are you gonna start believing people? You still doing the same thing in that book that you did on this show.
She hasn't grown up. There's some things that she hasn't come into fruition of. Excuse me.
But at 40 years old, you don't even have time to still be. You got a child, Porsha. I want her just to get it together because this is crazy. To see the stimulus that you are 20 years old.
Now she got money of her own, which means she has privilege. Look at all the people that she have around her.
But they not good there for your good. Look what this show just did to you. It's time to wake up, get your brain together, because they just carried the hell out of you with this show, girl. And if you don't see that, girl, this was your show. They put you in the supporting actress role, and they just made you look like you was crazy as fuck. You don't feel like it's time for you to get a brain yet? Girl, you are not. Whichever damn one of them people from the Wizard of Oz.
She had, part of the say so and what was put on camera, and she played into that. So that's her fault too.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's time to get a brain. Start doing things for yourself. You cannot depend on other people to. Lauren can't do everything, boo. You 40. If you still doing the same thing at 40 that you was doing at 20, reevaluate some things. That's all I'm saying. You'd have to think that something ain't right.
That don't matter. Common sense is not always common, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to tell her to get it.
She pays those people to do what they do for her. So it is what she's comfortable with that.
For them, but goddamn, she ain't paying for us to drag her. If you getting dragged this damn bad, you still don't think you need to change some stuff? I don't care how many people you got paid working for you. You're still the one at the end of the day that's being dragged, that's being talked about, that's being looked at as dumb.
But she's also paid, and she's getting what she wants on that end. So for her, it's a trade-off. We still watching her on TV.
That's the problem.
She said, I finally got my big break, and I made it.
But she's still willing to trade her life off for a bag. That every man she's been with in this book is an upgrade from the next one, got more than the next one, and still treat her like shit. So therefore, it's time to reevaluate some things.
What did I tell you?
That's all I'm saying.
What am I selling? I got t-shirts. I'm going to go ahead and start putting them on the damn page. I just got them, and I just don't sell them. She is the chancellor. She is the chancellor of the School of Thoughtnomics.
But she need to give her job up, girl. It's time to fucking get a new position.
Why?
Or something.
She ain't got everything she wants. Selling coochie is the oldest profession out there. Excuse me.
But it's still not getting her where she wants to be. She still ain't.
Or is it? Well, how do we know what
she ain't getting her there? Her being an asshole and letting people drag her on TV is getting her places.
She got her big break, and she got money, and she's taken care of, and she's secure, and she got jobs and shit. How are we saying that?
Yeah, but the coochie ain't getting her that. That's just letting her soul be so. So the coochie got her ass in court right now.
No, her attitude got her in court right now, but selling that coochie got her in the rooms where she needed to get to.
I don't think the scooch got into the rooms because Andy gay.
Well, all right. What else you got to say?
Nothing. I just can't wait to get to the next chapter, the Cordell chapter.
I think that's 6 and 7.
What chapter you
I'm
on
not
now?
sure. I think we on chapter 5.
I don't know what this chapter is then. But child, it gets crazy. It child.
Yeah,
Just
because
hold
I
on,
bet
y'all.
other folks get
And the way
ahead.
and the way Princess is reading this book, child, you got a lot of
We
emotions to
should have
go
been
through.
done with this damn book, but it is what it is.
You can't help your allergies. You can't help your life being affected. If they want to read it faster, go buy the book. If they don't, wait for Princess to read it. If they see this fail, I mean, I love y'all, but that's all we can give you.
Oh Lord, she's coming from a long line of thoughts, and that's Sister
And
Storm.
it's
Storm is
and
the
it is
thought
in
too.
show.
Don't be fooled.
Yes, and they still bringing up thoughts. That's the crazy part. We not gonna let PJ go down this road. We the fans not gonna let that shit happen. we gonna go get PJ.
All right, then, girl.
But
We're
hope you
gonna
feel better, sis.
thank you. We're gonna read this chapter, have a few more remarks, and then adjourn to a benediction.
All right, babe.
Thank you. Look, I had a little snack too while we was in there. Get me back going. Okay, so stop. This is chapter 5. I don't even know what this is about, honey. I'm gonna find out. We got almost 20 pages, like 18 pages, something like that, to go. The other one was like 40 pages. Okay, chapter 5. My feet hurt. It was another Friday night, and I was in the club, and it wasn't my first time at Tongue and Groove in Buckhead, so I managed to skip the line and walk right in. Excuse me, my stilettos barely hitting the pavement as valet parked my car. The air inside Tongue and Groove was a mix of weed, sweat, and the strongest colognes and perfumes all mixed together in a late night concoction. But somehow it smelled sweet. My girl and I were weaving around men who were steadily grasping at our waists and lightly brushing our butts as if we didn't feel it, making our way to the bar. We ordered our first round of drinks and tried to sip them slow to make them last just a little bit longer. All the while I was acting like I wasn't sucking in my stomach in this skin-tight bodycon dress. My friend was acting like a little butterfly that evening, and I could never settle into place and land inside the club. I opted to hug the bar a little bit tighter and not wanting to take up any more space in the room, even though I wasn't really a big drinker back then. What am I doing here? No, seriously. Why am I here? The DJ played the same old songs he played last month and in the same rotation. And the crowd seemed to jump in, "Hey, that's my song!" at the same parts. Hoping to get back to my friend, I left the comfort of the bar and looked for her around the club. As I walked across the middle of the dance floor, I felt my body stop all of a sudden, and my eyes were wide open, but everything went pitch black. And I knew it wasn't the alcohol because I had only had a couple of drinks, but this was different. It was supernatural. Drowning out the bass-heavy songs that vibrated through the tucked-away speakers surrounding me, a voice said to me very clearly, "Come out from where you are so you can bring them to me." I wasn't shocked or even scared to hear God's voice. It was the most familiar voice I had ever heard, almost like my own. And honestly, I was relieved because after years of speaking to God, pleading with him, and asking him so many questions I had for my life, he finally answered. And like many sacred things in my life, I found God thanks to my mother. Although I had known God all my life, since like every other Black person in Atlanta, I had grown up in the church. But it wasn't until my late 20s that I truly took the time to get to know him. and allow him the opportunity to get to know me. And even though he already knew my every intricate of my being, and more than that, he designed me to serve him, to honor him, and to worship him. In my 20s, my mother became serious about attending the Baptist church in Atlanta and began serving God through evangelism. So I started becoming serious too, especially after finding myself in so many uncomfortable situations. I needed a divine reset. I went to every church every single Sunday and many days in between. I would spend weekends at convocation. I went to every revival. And if my pastor was a guest preacher at another church in the area, I would follow him to that church to support him. I even joined the praise team, trying to worship with every gift I possessed. I'll never forget singing with the praise team because although I could carry a tune and harmonize, I would be nervous. It didn't help that one Sunday the choir director wanted all of us to sing a solo. Now, I didn't mind singing a solo in front of our small church of about 50 people, but that Sunday the church was packed. There were even people standing up in the back because there was nowhere to sit down. And thanks to the guest prophet preaching that day, who had brought his entire congregation with him. Great. Now I'm going to have to sing in front of all these people, and I'm not ready, I thought to myself. I was standing up there right at the foot of the pulpit, and I was the last one to do my solo. But every other member of the praise team sang, so it just made me even more and more nervous to do my part. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't in the spirit. I was just trying to talk myself up so that I wouldn't have a panic attack when I sang the first note. Oh, y'all stupid. When the song finally got to my part, I could barely breathe, let alone sing. I might have let out a Jesus, but by the time I finished singing his name, I was on the floor. I kid you not. I saw blackness and I literally hit the floor. I completely passed out. Not a little bit, no, like out. When I came to, I heard all I heard around me was the family saying, "The Holy Ghost done got Porsha. Praise him! Praise him!" And they were fanning me, making sure I was okay. Meanwhile, to cover up my embarrassment, I hopped up and joined the rest of the congregation saying, "Jesus save me! Jesus save me! God, please forgive me." Still for years, I went to work and went to church, went to work and went to church. And that was it. And it was everything to me. I found so much joy in his word and in his promises. I found the safeness I desperately needed and the comfort that I craved. I had grown so much in my relationship with God that it had transformed into an actual relationship. It was more fulfilling than any job, any man, any drink, any drug, any shopping spree. He was more than enough. He was greater. He was my comfort. He was my peace. If at any time I felt stressed, I didn't worry about it because I believed that just as God's word said, that he had my back. God was my mother. God was my father. And I knew that he turned any situation around for my good. And I believed all of it, every word, every scripture. I literally felt, and I still feel like I am God's child. With God, I didn't have to feel ashamed of anything in my past, like when the dreams were violently stripped from me or when humanity was literally wrestled away from me. With God, I could forgive myself for the choices I made. And when I choose with God, I could forgive myself for the choices I had made. The men I chose who only disappointed me. With God, I could set myself free. I could break the chains of regret, shame, and guilt to reignite a life filled with purpose, contentment, and clarity. So I have been talking to God a lot during that time of my life. asking him a lot of questions of my life that I knew he wanted from me. I wanted to know what God needed me to do. How could I please him? How could I be right so that when I walk through heaven's doors, he, or she for that matter, could look me in the eye and say, Porsha, well done. But it didn't mean that I didn't let church or that confining religious lifestyle with its hypocritical judgments or shaming techniques change who I was or how I carried myself. Well, in many ways it did, but the best ways. But what I meant was I truly believed that God loved me just as who I was. I still wore makeup. I still wore clothes that fit my body despite getting in trouble for wearing skirts that were too tight for church because I knew in my heart I wasn't being disrespectful. God literally made me curvaceous. The women in my church would have their skirts down to their ankles, but I just never felt like I needed to change who I was to be what God needed me to be. I always felt like God had chosen me for who I am, and he wanted to use me just the way I am. With some tweaks, I knew that I would be most useful to him by simply being me. Again, Porsha don't need to make no changes because Porsha is perfect. Spiritually, the biggest struggle that I had was with my own flesh. It's probably the thing I've been battling my whole life. I would always ask God to cleanse my flesh and give me a clean heart and make my spirit stronger. When you ask God for that, he's faithful and it's going to happen. God was now making my spirit stronger than my flesh. The flesh that had at times encouraged me to make poor decisions, persuaded me to say yes when I really wanted to say no, and introduced me to demons that didn't deserve my presence. Thank God for his unchanging favor. So in the moment when God spoke to me on that dance floor in the middle of the club, it didn't scare me. If anything, it was confirmation. I was so thankful that after years of praying to him, thinking of him, and speaking to him, he was finally speaking back to me for the first time. I was finally at a place in my life where I wasn't distracted, and that was saying a lot since I was literally standing in a crowded nightclub with strobe lights blinking and sound thumping. I had been here in the club countless nights before, watching the evening slip away, letting the hours roll by so I could forget about that ex, that hurt, that parent at the daycare center, my dad. I kept running to the club hoping it would help me forget about all the things that stormed my brain at night, haunting me, trying to find answers that I simply didn't have or maybe didn't want to have. Questions that I dared not ask because I was afraid of the answer. But after years of running away from the questions, they still seemed to find me. It was almost like I had left the front door open and those questions would just walk right in and sit down, staring at me in the face. They cuddle up with me after a long day of work, pouring out their own drink, dark liquor. Those questions prodded me to interrogate my pain, and they think deeply about my purpose and my destiny. I felt impossible to answer, yet relentless in their quest. Before tonight inside this club, those questions went from being a suggestive whisper every now and then to a loud nagging request. Why are you here? What are you looking for? How did you get here? Don't you want something more for your life? Do you think you'll find it without me? Perhaps it was my walk with God that gave me the courage to face myself for the very first time, to unmask what I'd rather keep hidden. Even in the neon iridescent lights of the club, I couldn't run away from myself any longer. Believe me, I had tried. I had tried to hide away my pain with nights out by drinking dark liquor, between someone's legs, and even shopping. But that pulsating feeling that I was missing out on my purpose to serve myself and others in a way that pleased him had grown too large to ignore. I had to stop running. I had to. After hearing God's voice, I simply said, okay, I hear you. I blinked and I was back inside the club, feeling like I had been dropped back inside of life, but feeling distinctly different about everything that I had saw around me. The women grinding up against the men, the groomsmen taking shots at the bar, the D-cup bartender who was intentionally leaning over the player, leaning over while making drinks. It didn't bother me before God's voice had spoken to me, but now I saw everything with fresh eyes and I couldn't stand any of it. I instantly felt like I was in a place where I wasn't supposed to be. And I immediately saw sin all around me, and I had to leave. The next morning, after chugging water and trying to wipe the night's makeup off with wipes, I turned to the one woman who I knew wouldn't judge me I turned to the one woman who I knew wouldn't judge me for who I was and where I was. Mom, I just had an epiphany, I told her, reaching for more electrolytes to ward off any hangover that had my name on it. I was standing in the club last night and I was thinking at everyone there. I was looking at everyone there like, what are we doing? What are we really here for? What do you mean, Porsha? My mama said, her voice dripping in a honeyed understanding while she wiped down the counters in her kitchen. I'm not sure what I mean, but last night in the club, listening to the same songs and seeing the same people, I just decided the club life wasn't for me anymore. I don't want to be single anymore. I'm ready to be married. Are we supposed to be going out partying? Or are we supposed to be looking for something more? Yeah, but Porsha, you still have plenty of time to settle down and get married. You're only 26. You don't have to rush it. It's because you're sick of going out. But it's not that. It's not the going out part that has me questioning everything. I'm sick of not having protection and a special someone to share my life's moments with, to share my success with. I want a husband. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I want to be a wife. Well, if you're serious about it, Porsha, my mother began sensing my sincerity. You only have to have a heart for it and let God take care of the rest. Walking into church next Sunday, I still had what God had told me inside the club on my heart. While singing on the 4-person praise team inside my small Baptist church in Ellenwood, I couldn't get that moment out of my head. My moment with God struck with me even after the pastor told our small church to stand in line and tell the Lord what you want. There were about 50 or so people sitting on either side of the aisle in the wooden pews, but I didn't see them as I walked up to my pastor. Whispering in his ear, God laid on my heart. I asked God for a husband. Church family, the pastor boomed into the mic as I stared down the church's red carpet. Porsha here to ask God for a husband. So let's all touch and agree that she finds a man of God that has set aside for her. Amen, church? Amen? I have felt my body melt to the floor from embarrassment. How could the pastor have said this out loud? I was only telling the Lord, not the entire congregation. Lord have mercy. But I told the Lord what I wanted, and a year later, there he was. Okay, this is the second half of the chapter. It was like he was sent to me. It was like he felt the answer to what I had been yearning for. He was literally what I had been praying for. About a year after I asked God for a husband, I met Cordell Stewart. I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Literally 1 year after whispering in my pastor's ear, he gave me the desires of my heart. I didn't even want to be in the club that night, but if it wasn't for my friend's birthday, I would have been in the house watching something that I love on the TV or listening to my favorite music. It was even raining outside, so you know I love this girl because black people do not go out in the rain. I guess, girl. I definitely wasn't for going to the club anymore. I knew there was nothing out there for me. So there I was, reluctantly standing there talking to a couple of friends I spotted on the dance floor when I felt someone staring at me from across the room. His eyes were piercing through the crowd. I felt them instantly. Why is this dude just staring me down? What's going on? You know I gotta do that when we talk like Porsha. I met his eye thinking that my audacity would break his stare, but he just continued looking at me. When I finally looked at him, it felt like I was staring at one of those romantic comedies where you meet somebody's eye and everybody around you disappears and it just feels like you and that person were the only ones left in the room. That's how I felt. Felt like he and I were standing there staring into each other's eyes on an empty dance floor. My friend is interested in you, I heard a man say, breaking my gaze at his handsome man wearing a collared shirt laid wide open. A little wide too, think disco. So tell him to come talk to me, I replied, already knowing what was about to happen next. Oh, he a little shy, his friend pressed. Oh, he's shy. Well, I'm not going to talk to him through you. I could tell he wasn't actually shy. I just didn't know why he was reenacting this shy guy routine from the heartbeat, 5 heartbeats. It was cute. Eventually, Cordell came over as I predicted he would. I'm sorry I didn't come over here at first, he said in a deep voice, tinged with a southern sensibility. But I think you're very beautiful. Cordell was from New Orleans. He was a manly man, which what meant he was a little intimidating to a lot of people for sure. I could tell that he was an athlete or used to be an athlete. He had the type of body that couldn't hide. He was 10 years older than me, so probably explained the clothes, but I didn't mind it. He had a strong presence. He had a great voice with a smooth tone. It was perfect for his gig as an ESPN correspondent, which he had scored after leaving the NFL, where he played for 11 years. He was an athlete, so he had a beautiful body, even with his clothes on. He definitely knew how to hang a suit. He was super religious, and he was definitely spiritual, and he didn't mind that I was religious. We wanted the same things out of life. We both wanted family, and we wanted to be more than what they told us we could be. We wanted it all, and at times we felt like we had it. On our first date, which was his favorite restaurants, Fleming's in Duluth, Cordell picked me up from my condo. I remember being so charmed by it all because it was an old school and so romantic and so perfect. I don't remember what we spoke about during that first dinner, but I do remember feeling like Cordell was really listening to me, like really hearing me. I felt like he really saw me. He got me. So when he told me during that date that he was single and he never wanted to get married, I didn't pay any attention to him because what he did know that was in that moment, God had already told me that he was going to be my husband. So I felt safe, so comfortable, and so secure. Excuse me, I got. I had to blow my nose on that one. Child. If you really read the Bible says that a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And I'm not saying that God can't tell a woman that that's going to be a husband, but it doesn't typically happen on the first date. Especially when the man does not feel that he's going to get married, because the man feels a quickening in his spirit when you are truly his wife, and he knows almost immediately that you're gonna be his wife. But we almost done, I guess. Excuse me, I guess. Child. Cordell always wanted to be around me, and when he wasn't around me, he always wanted to know where I was. And at the time, I loved that he cared for me so much about where I was and who I was with. It made me feel protected. Because I crave comfort and covering, I didn't realize that it was a red flag. I'll never forget, I was headed out to eat with my cousin Tiffany a few months, maybe 6 or 7 into our relationship, and he had asked me where I was going, and I told him, but that didn't stop him from blowing my phone up that night. I mean, he called me back to back every 5 minutes to point out where I had to apologize to Tiffany. I'm so sorry, girl. I don't know why he acted like this. I told him I was with you. I even picked up his phone call once during the evening, like, hey, babe, is everything all right? Remember, I'm with Tiffany. And here he goes, booming from the other side of the phone. I know, but y'all are just out too late, Porsha. What are y'all still doing out eating at 10 o'clock at night? Cordell was yelling so loudly, surely my cousin could hear him beside me at the table. I was so embarrassed by his behavior, I hung up on him. There was no rationalizing it. There was no reasoning with him. But I straight up ignored his warning signs because I could rationalize it. Well, he loves me. He's just looking out for me. He cares for me. Cordell felt like the first man in a long time who really invested in me and my future. I was still having a few bumps with my daycare and trying to make payroll. And while expanding the business after venting one evening, I remember him asking me, what's going on with your business, Porsha? Why is it so disorganized? Why is everything upside down? Why is it so difficult for you to pay your workers sometimes? And it's hard for you to make rent. What's happening? But he didn't say it in a way to make me feel bad or ashamed. He truly wanted to know, and he wanted to help. He came over that night and went through all my mail and my bills and wrote out a budget. And he didn't just hand me the money to help me out like other men in my life had done in the past. He patiently mentored me. He felt invested in me from the beginning. He didn't throw money at me. He was really trying to make me a better businesswoman. Cordell was giving too. I mean, this was the man who, when we eventually were engaged, flew me to Vegas and dropped $80,000 on me just because. He wanted me to have the dream, the life. And he also loved being around my family. So if that meant going to church with us, he didn't mind coming and sharing in the word with me, which made him extremely attractive to me. And I knew it was getting serious with Cordell when I brought him over to my mother's house to meet her, because my mother knows me so well that she could easily tell me if this man was wasting my time or if he was the real deal. When Cordell walked through the door, he immediately hugged my mother. We were giggling almost like teenagers around each other back then. When I looked at him, he looked right back at me, piercing me to my soul, even around my mama. I remember after church one day, we went over to my mother's house for Sunday dinner. While the food finished simmering, we sat on my mother's yellow sofa. Well, really, I sat on the sofa. Cordell ended up sitting at my feet on the floor next to me. He looked at me with such admiration in his penetrating eyes. I felt like Cordell saw me like no other man had seen me before, as a wife, as a mother, and more important, as a woman deserving of his attention. And I just cherished him from seeing me from the woman I felt destined to become. Still, it wasn't long before I started noticing a pattern. Cordell would take me out on a certain time of night. He'd only take me to dark bars, or we'd go somewhere where there weren't a lot of people. At first, I really didn't think about it because I was just happy to be with him, and I was enjoying his company. I didn't care if we were the only people in the restaurant, sitting in a corner booth with our backs towards the door. But after a while, I started to notice that it felt intentional, almost like if he was hiding me. We were at the Bucket Shop Cafe in Buckhead, tucked in the corner of the sports bar, nestled into one of their huge brown leather booths, and I had had enough. It feels like you're hiding me. I'm not, he said, acting incredulous. I know you have a son, though. Are you still with your son's mother or something? What's her name? It's Brandy, right? Like, seriously, what's up? Cordell wasn't shy about speaking about his ex. I knew they had been together for a long time, and I knew he had messed up their relationship somehow and felt regretful. I knew too much about them, actually, but I figured he was one of those guys who just talks too much about his last relationship. You know what? Maybe he's still getting over her. It's fresh, I rationalized. It's cool. I could be his support system. It's aggravating, but I could be there for him while he works through that. Yeah, it's okay. But it wasn't okay. Not really. So I called him after that hide and seek date, and I told him I was breaking it off. I didn't want to date him anymore despite what God had told me. Any man who was hiding me and was trying to keep me a secret wasn't the man for me. But he begged and he pleaded. No, come up to my place. You can see there's nothing here. I live alone. I just have one son and with my baby's mom. So I went over there. It wasn't like it was a long trek. Come to find out, Cordell had lived across the street from me in a different condo, and oddly enough, I had never seen or heard him before we met that fateful night in the club. He had been there just as long as I had been there, but we had been living and running in opposite directions. He went to Publix and I went to Kroger. He went to SunTrust and I went to Bank of America. He thought that it was an insane coincidence, but I took it a step further. For me, I felt like it was destiny. I went over there, and immediately when I walked through his door, I saw the most beautiful flowers on his cocktail table. There were 24 long stem roses standing in a glass vase. I couldn't believe how thoughtful and caring he was, and I couldn't hide my excitement. I ran straight over to the flowers, wanting to smell them one by one. Oh my gosh, Cordell! These are beautiful! Oh, wow! I picked up the card delicately placed beside the vase and began to read it, and the card said, "Thank you for everything. I appreciate you so much." Wait, what? I didn't get it. Thank you for what? I was confused for a split second until my instincts took over from where my brain left off. These flowers weren't for me. Oh my God. These flowers aren't for me. They're for him. They're from a woman. They're from his ex. This asshole left these flowers here by mistake because they are from his baby's mom and he forgot to move them. That's what I realized. Cordell hadn't followed me into his condo. He was frozen at the door. These are from your baby mama, I accused. Oh yeah, you know, he confirmed, bumbling through whatever half-truth he was about to tell me. Brandy was thanking me because I had gave her some extra money. No, this is bullshit. I'm not dumb, I said, barely raising my voice because I was so dumbfounded. Don't worry, Cordell. I figured it out. Thank you for making it so obvious you're hiding me. You're always talking about her, and now here these flowers. Just admit it. Admit it. You still in love with her. I didn't give him a chance to respond. I walked right out of that condo, and I had plans of never going back. I broke up with him that night. It was over, and I would have stayed over if Cordell wasn't. I wouldn't have stayed over if Cordell wasn't so good at begging. The old church mothers used to say, whoever you spend New Year's with is the person you'll spend the rest of the year with. And Cordell, even though I was fed up with his lying, wanted to spend it with me. I still wasn't sure I wanted to get back together with him, but because he sounded so sure and so consistent, it almost overruled my common sense. His confidence in us, in me, hid the other little red flag. So here we are 10 months into our relationship, and he was begging again to be with me. I tried to be patient with him because it felt like I had met him in the middle of a process. I had met him in the middle of him trying to get a heart attack, trying to get his heart back. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much of his heart was already spoken for. Despite the earnest intentions, Cordell didn't spend New Year's with me. When I eventually caught up with him on the other side of the new year, when people were eating their black-eyed peas for good luck and spinach for wealth, and others were going back to the gym for the first time in months, Cordell was catching me up on how he rang in the occasion. Apparently, he had spent the first night of the year with Brandy and his son. My heart was so worn down by the news, I refused to react. I refused to let his ghost of relationships past have an effect on me, on us. And the next day, I woke up and told Brandy I wanted to break off the engagement. Well, and the next day, I woke up and told Brandy that I wanted to break off the engagement. The engagement? Wait, what? Well, I had proposed to her, and I really hadn't broken it off. And then I met you, and then we were moving so fast. So where? That's where you were hiding me? That was your fiance the entire time? Well, she put the ring on the counter, and I took it back, so she's not my fiance anymore. Even after another flaming red flag that was literally on fire, I threw cold water on the situation because I was in love with Cordell. I ignored the signs about him and his child's mother because I wholeheartedly believed that he was my husband. I knew our story didn't end like this, so I lied to myself trying to pretend that this shadow from their relationship wouldn't affect our marriage. Although it did, it always did, because they shared life between them. They had a son together. Because of that, I always felt second rate to her, even though I wouldn't dare admit that to him. So I closed my eyes and ignored the signs about him lying about his engagement. I took him back because I loved him, and I really believe once Brandy had given back the ring, he was over her. He said he was. I stamped out any doubt because I still wanted to marry him. Why would God tell me Cordell was my husband, only for it to turn out like this? After that day, I put the entire situation behind me, and it seemed like he did too. We were in love in our own little bubble. It felt warm here. It felt safe here. He became my sanctuary. That is the end of chapter 5. I have a few words, comments about these 2 chapters. If you would like to call in before we get out of here, then that's fine. Let me see. Chapter 6, 120. Chapter 6 is 19 pages. And chapter 7 is 17 pages. So we'll read chapter 6 and 7 the next time we sit down. Child, like I said, if y'all want to call in, the thing is linked. The call-in thing is pinned to the chat. Back to chapter 5, or whatever the fuck that is for. Chapter 4. You see so many similarities, the things that we've seen and learned about her on TV, especially this situation with that damn Aura Kelly. He liked her before she had titties and ass. He stopped her when she said she was 20. That was a turn on for him. That she was a kid. That the younger he thought she was, the closer to teenagers she was, that was a turn on for him. Thank you. World's Greatest Entertainment. I gotta buy the Keenan and Kel book. The Kel book, whatever. I'm gonna look at doing that today. And I gotta remember to do my Amazon groceries tonight. Yeah, I need to drink after this, G. He liked that she wasn't developed. That was his sickness. That was his sickness speaking of him liking kids and him liking just, underdeveloped bodies and flat chest. He's sick. That's sick. She had a chance to get out of that many times, but she chose to go back. I'm not victim shaming her, but it's just odd. The story, it's odd. All of this is odd. Her thought process is odd. I feel for her. I don't know. She say Mama Diane and her daddy looked after her and they had a good relationship. I'm trying to figure out, how do you get here? How do you get to that? From you having this strong, dang, my glasses is dirty. You having this strong foundation. When you have an Aunt Leah, well, I guess she didn't know the people. She knew the thought side of her family, And somebody failed her. Somebody failed her, you know what I'm saying? And her being secretive, but this also goes back to her in the beginning. Her rejecting therapy, her rejecting help, okay? Her rejecting healing. You could go to church. Church only do so much for your ass, okay? Prayer and supplication. You still have to do the work, even when you go to church. Also me. Cordell. You notice when she said that, the first thing I said was, God ain't told you that this man is your husband. He tells the man, and he has the woman to identify. Okay? You have confirmation. Don't know, no, God don't tell the woman first, and guess what? So then God told you that this man was your husband, and he's trying to be somebody else's husband. But he told you he didn't want to get married. The reason why he told you in the front that he didn't want to get married, because he know he had another woman, and he's scum of the earth too. And he probably was calling her that night because he might have known that his fiance was in the vicinity, and he didn't want them to cross paths. You can't tell me that man, they've been dating for 6 to 7 months, and you didn't know where this man lived at, and he lived across the street from your ass. He did that on purpose. He did that on purpose. Think girls back in the building.
I first want to start off and say, my bad, Miss Diane. I'm not going to put this all on you, because I really think that Porsha, because Miss Diane wasn't married, I think Porsha saw something that made her, that like, I guess her mother wasn't whole because she wasn't married. So maybe that's why she wants to be a wife. She did
marry her daddy. They got divorced.
I know she married him, but after that, she never married again. And it's like Porsha it's wanting to be a wife so bad, like it's something wrong with being single. Like, you got to know the difference between the devil's voice and God's voice. They both speak to you. You just got to be able to distinguish between the two. Because I don't know God to be giving you other people's men. I don't know that God. So, yeah, I think that's something within Porsha where she seen that her mother was without a man. So she was like, no, I'm not going to, I don't want that for myself. Because she wants to be a wife real bad. That she's willing to take whatever comes and gives her the ring. Like now, somebody else's husband again or somebody else's man again. She's engaged to now.
Right, mother?
She's just willing to be a wife. She wants to be a wife so bad that she's willing to take whatever comes. And I wonder where that stems from.
I see it a little bit different. I think that, this is her father's fault in a lot of ways because your daddy took you out to go cheat on your mama. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. I did. I forgot all about that part. But I just want to say I apologize to Miss Diane because I said at first it's her mom's fault. No, I don't think that part of it is Miss Diane's fault about her wanting to be a mom so bad. I mean, a wife so bad.
I think that he gave her bad examples and he didn't love her. I think the emptiness comes from when he started rejecting her after she tricked off on him, almost for cheating. And after that, she was never good enough.
Yeah, that relationship was never the same.
Yeah, and she wanted to be accepted. And she never got that accepting. When she talked about a protector and all that, her daddy didn't protect her. His nasty ass left her in the fucking car while he gonna fucking other bitches. Okay, and that's a child.
Yeah,
when she wasn't protected because she was put on punishment and left in the closet. That's all that.
And that's why that R. Kelly thing triggered her so bad too. Having to stay in that room, even though the door wasn't locked, even though she wasn't told to stay in that room. Being that that's the way her father punished her, she wouldn't leave out that room.
Like a little ass kid. She did what she was told to do.
Yep.
R. Kelly, them girls have to call him daddy. Okay. So it was just another authority figure. Now, me and Porsha is the same age. Now let's think about this part. So if she was 25, because right now R. Kelly's like 55. So 25. He was 40 years old then.
Yeah.
So he was well into his career.
He was a fucking father figure, period.
And he was well into the manipulation. He knew how to do it. He knew to do it quick. He already had years and years of the routine of how to get the girls, how to keep you stable, keep you where I want you. And that's it. So we have to think about like all of these elements. It's a lot of elements to it. She don't know nobody. Now,
I wish she get some help.
At that time. And this book is a cry out for help. Porsha's Family Matters was a cry out for help, whether she realized it or not. She needs some help.
Yes, she does. I really hope she gets it. I hope she just takes the time to sit down and examine everything that has went on so far and just take a moment from the spotlight and just reflect and just go do the work, because all that you already have for yourself, that should be enough for you right now you know what I'm saying? That should be enough. You should, whether you're a wife or not, you're a mother. That right there should be fulfilling within itself. That should make you want to be a better person within itself. My kids every day make me want to do something better. Them alone. And for that not to be enough, I just want her to really go sit on somebody's couch or wherever she need to go and get it all out. Have a good cry or something. I don't know. But you can't help but to want better for somebody when you see them in crisis like this. This is a crisis. This is a problem for me.
Well, she has to want it for herself. And the problem with this is that when she when she has to go to therapy, it also means you got to take accountability, okay? And that's one of those words that's her kryptonite. She
Yes,
don't
it
know
is.
nothing about that. She's not going to do it. Okay. She doesn't like accountability. And it also makes it that she has to see herself. If we looked at these last episodes, matter of fact, I still got to watch this last episode of Portia's Family Matters. I fell asleep, but I saw most of it. But like Dennis said, she don't say I'm sorry. When she
At
talks to the
all.
people, she passes the buck. She doesn't like for anybody to tell her when she's wrong. And
Yeah,
even
like
if
with
she
her and Longy
knows
said, ain't.
she's not gonna say I'm sorry.
Nope. And that she didn't forget to feel any empathy for Londi until Londi started shedding tears. Like, and that was just to pacify her and help her to just please stop crying because you're making me feel bad right now. Portia does not take accountability for anything. I don't think she know how to spell it. I don't think she know the meaning of it. And it's crazy because you are 40 years old. It's time to start reevaluating some things, baby girl. You don't get to do none of this life over again. All you gonna do is get another chance, another day to make it better. But you gotta start taking them steps towards making it better for it to get better. It's not gonna just get. You're not gonna wake up one day and it's gonna be better, baby. You gotta do the work.
Well, it can't. And she's making the same exact mistakes, just the same way as Cordell was her husband. Now she's saying Simon is her husband, and
Hmm.
he was somebody else's husband at the same time.
If you got a big bag and another woman, you can be with Portia.
Okay, the girl, I love you.
Love you, sis.
I'll talk to you.
All right, baby. You feel better.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, Sean, come on in the room. Hey,
You know what?
Sean.
Hey, this is a hot mess. I just had to say it. It's a hot mess. I don't understand the book. I don't understand her. You got a laptop, you sneaking around, you talking to people saying, "Oh, hi, Porsha. How do they know your name? You just got there." I'm not understanding any of it. It's just lies, lies, lies. Porsha. I don't get it. I don't
I
get it.
think she probably thought, I'm sure that he probably did, because they had so many people in there, get him like a rundown or a picture like this who coming today. But I think that was also a part of the whole game. Like we'll tell them, you know their name to make them feel good, to make them feel special, as a part of to rope in the woman. That's what I think.
But okay, you got a cell phone and then you got a laptop.
She was lucky.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, you got a cell phone and a laptop. I thought the RK took those things away from the people. But you got a cell phone, you have a laptop, you're doing work, but you're in a room for 3 days. It all just doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense to me.
This book is all over the place. Okay, we went from the church to the whole house to the Holy
Right.
Spirit.
And,
To
and is it
Cordell.
double space, the triple space?
It's like double.
Okay, yeah, it figures. Okay. Well, you're entertaining me. This is past my bedtime, child. It's 11 o'clock here, and I was so interested in this. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, that explains it all. Okay, double space.
Oh, crazy, you crazy. It's better. It's been better for this to be a picture book.
I agree. Well, you kept
Kimmy
my
was in
interest.
here and she said that she's already been through the book, that she bought the audio version. She said the audio version was terrible when Portia read it and it's just boring and whatever. So
And I was going to get the book, but no, I'll just listen to you. because no, I'm not even gonna waste my money.
Please don't. I'm waiting for the part where we are encouraged or whatever, the triumph, or we really get to um, see her. But I just see a tragedy. That's all I see right now is a tragedy.
And I feel sorry for PJ. I mean, who are they? Is she thinking about PJ? I mean, what's her future? I mean, she's gonna grow up and see her mama doing these crazy things, and I hope it doesn't, she doesn't teach her what, well, allegedly Miss Diane or whatever. What's her mama name?
Diane.
Okay, yeah, Miss Diane, supposedly taught Porsha. Poor little PJ.
The problem is, I guess, Diane really didn't teach her. Is what it's what's missing, what wasn't said between all of them. Because now this sound like Miss Diane been over here churching and evangelizing. Y'all have left Porsha in the dust.
Yeah.
Y'all just a disservice.
Yeah. I don't, and then I felt bad when you said something about her father and her not telling it, so there's some father issues there. So trust issues. I just feel sorry for her. I really do feel sorry for her. We really got to pray, but pray for that little girl too, because who knows what's going to happen to that little girl.
Well, she got Dennis family, so I think she got a prayer. She got a wing and a prayer. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, because them lemon pepper chicken wings, they ain't going to help.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
All right, good night.
Have a good night.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, y'all. I didn't think we'd be on this long. I really didn't. But I thank for all y'all that's out there that have listened. Please press the like button, okay? If you're watching this on the replay, please press the like button and also subscribe, okay? The next reading will probably be back to members only, but I knew that this chapter was like the juicy chapter everybody wanted to hear. So this might go on members only after a day or so, but I'm thinking about it. But press the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000. All of the likes and subscribe are needed to keep this channel going, to keep this channel growing, and to keep me in the algorithms. Everybody that comments or watches, it helps to move me forward in the channel. So also, I just want to thank all of y'all that are here. And if you feel like joining and becoming a card carry legal citizen, it is greatly appreciated. Also, if you want to hit the Cash App, okay, it is greatly appreciated. I don't even know where my stuff is. It's let's use a banner. The Cash App is House of the Princess, okay? I'm still working on the things. Did I put it in here? No, I didn't put it on this one. I'm still working on some stuff to go on over here over this channel. I was working on them hard last night. I got some things going that we're gonna have a town hall meeting for the members and to get a lot of things going. We're moving on up this year, so you can also give a super chat. And you can give a Zelle or a Venmo or a PayPal. So we have that information as well. I'll just DM me. If you want to email me, my email is info@hausoftheeprincess.com. We're going to start doing some pre-records of my advice column, the throne room, and something else is coming this month as well. I'm moving slowly. And my gifts for the members are coming out as well really, really soon. So I just want to thank everybody that's watching. Please know that you're new to the channel. I have my lip gloss line and my hair. That blonde hair I had on last week was Royalty Beauty Brands hair, my royal extension. So you can find them at Royalty Beauty Brands. I have lashes, and of course we have our beautiful Young Bella lip gloss. This was my House of the Princess pink, but I used it all. So we have everything, and don't forget, I'm going to go back to working on the Intimate Dutchess website so that we can get it open. I wanted it open for January, but I had a few life hiccups, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to love the advice. Yes, I'm going to find some random things, and then after that, when people want to start mailing stuff in anonymously, I will take them. It's the chat is on members only, but I actually have it live and open so that everyone can view, but only members can chat right now. So that's the difference. It's half-ass on members only. So on members only. So besides that, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, I have all the thumbnails up for this week so far, at least the majority of them. Excuse me. Tomorrow we'll be back in the building with Porsha's Family Matters. Okay, this is a Porsha week. So we will be back in here, Porsha's Family Matters. The trick is tomorrow I will be in here earlier. Okay, we will be here at 7 p.m. tomorrow. I'm going to tell you why. Thank you. Because there's a broke down ass show. I know they cut it short. Okay, so tomorrow is the finale episode where we'll discuss Porsha's Family Matters. So we did not finish last week because I got sick. So at 7 p.m. to like 8:30 roughly, we're going to go over last week's episode as part 2, the humbugging episode. We are still having we are still having the humbugging contest. Okay, so if you want to wear your fighting clothes and come on camera, or if you want to send me a picture of your best outfit that you wear when you go to fight or you go to humbug, we are giving a a cash prize in celebration of that mess last week when they decided to go out there and humbug out there down to the messy cult. Okay, so we are having a humbugging contest. Is still on. Wear your fighting clothes. And we're going to give a little cash prize from the good old Cash App. And then after at 8:45, we're just going to have like a quick break in between the two. By 8:45, we are going to do the final episode of Porsha's Family Matters. I'm going to be sad to leave my panel, at least for now, but I'm not sad to be done with this show because the show was just, I knew it wasn't going to be shit anyway. But it was interesting to watch. We did get to know Porsha more, but not in a good way. This was something for that damn Simon, and I'm almost wanting to watch a spinoff show with Dennis now. And I wasn't a fan of Grimace before that. But we're going to talk about it tomorrow. So that I want you all... y'all... No, I know, but close. I want y'all to come back to the House of Princess tomorrow, where we'll talk about Porsha's Family Matters, and of course on Wednesday and Friday I will be in the building with 50/50 News. So y'all already go to the my page and set reminders. So it'll let you know it's already up when I'm going to go live, and it'll even give you, I think, a 30-minute thing prior to reminder that I'm going live if you need a little help. Also, if you're subscribed, if you join, press the notification bell and you will be let know when I'm going live. And go back and go to all, so it'll let you know that I'm here, and you probably won't miss miss a lot if you don't, unless you just want to. Okay. So, the show, yes. So, with that being said, I think I've said everything I needed to say, or at least everything I'm going to say. I need to give myself a break. Y'all hear my voice going out, and I'm a little bit hungry, eating late, and I gotta stay up for a little while and take another pill. And all of those who did memberships and whatever, I got to do my Royal Citizens membership thing tonight. But instead, right now, why did it come on again? No, I gotta tweak it, I guess. I see. But besides that, thank y'all for becoming members or giving a donation. So yes, in lieu of that, again, press the like button, press the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Maybe I have my studio together. I will have it better by tomorrow. So if you could see what's around me, it's a mess. But I thank y'all for coming out and enjoying listening to me read. It gives me a little encouragement here at the House of the Princess. And with that being said, I am Princess AV, and it's time for me to turn out the lights. Go love on somebody tonight, but not nobody else's husband. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Royalty Beauty Brands is a female, Black-owned beauty company with all of your cosmetic needs in mind. Right now, we offer hair extensions, eyelash extensions, and our flagship product, Yumbella Lip Glam. Coming soon to add to our product line will be promo merchandise, lip oil, lip scrub, beard oil, body butter, body soap, and makeup, to name a few. Every product is vegan friendly and carefully made with the consumer in mind. Check out our Royalty Beauty Brand social media and go to our website to sign up for our exclusive mailing list for discount codes and to place an order. Don't forget to leave us some feedback. Royalty Beauty Brands. We see the beauty in you.